President Donald Trump delivered his first State of the Union address this week, an 80-minute speech touching on everything from health care to immigration. His rise to the Oval Office largely due to support from voters in rural communities. That compelled us to check in with supporters of then-candidate Trump to see how the last year shaped their views of his presidency. Arizona 360 traveled to the community of Sonoita-Elgin in northeastern Santa Cruz County and watched the speech with Trump supporters. But first, a bit about this pocket of southern Arizona. Founded in the late 1880s, the Sonoita-Elgin Valley got its start with cattle and mining. Today, one of the things this town is known for, vineyards. Kent Callaghan's family started one of the first in the 90s.
In terms of selling wine, it's certainly easier now. Local first, those types of things, locavore, they've obviously dovetailed with the increase in exposure and drinking of Arizona wines.
Today, there are more than a dozen. Wineries have tripled in the last 10 years.
I mean, the cattle business for years has been the primary economic activity, and it's still here. The money that is generated not simply from wine sales and employment, but also from people, the spin-off revenue that's generated from gas sales, merchandise in restaurants in town is substantial.
Fair mix of business, retirees, and families make up the community of about 1,000. Todd Bostock runs a winery while raising a young family in a small town with limited resources.
Getting access to high-speed internet has been challenging, and it's definitely becomes an issue for kids as more school work goes online. Like any school program, whether it's in the city or not, it needs to be supplemented by folks at home and engagement with parents in the school.
A transplant from Phoenix, this father of two says there's a clear difference between urban and rural living.
It's things that you wouldn't think of that took getting used to. It took us a while to figure out that we always needed to have a cooler in the car to buy groceries. Learn how to deal with trash at your house so that animals don't get into it. And maybe getting used to the silence.
Sound, though, comes from one school with about 115 students. The kids here are like any other bunch you'll find on a playground.
You can go to a school where you can play fun sports and have fun with your friends. It's really nice.
Small town living, this is rural Arizona. Limited retail and healthcare, it's a way of life.
Well, you make a trade-off. This is so nice, I'm going to give up this, or I'm going to take a risk on this. But for this, it's worth it.
Matt Pirelli is a retiree who spends his time soaking in the sunsets.
Everything just settles down. The birds don't fly, the dogs don't bark.
A Chicago native, he first visited Arizona in the 70s while on temporary duty at nearby Fort Huachuca.
After about the fourth visit, I was captured, by this time of day and these kinds of views, and they're just so spectacular.
A diverse community, Santa Cruz County has more registered Democrats than Republicans. Pirelli is a Republican who supports President Trump. On State of the Union night, he and a few conservative friends gathered to watch the president's address.
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
All five of you support Donald Trump 1 year ago and still today? 100%?
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Fair to say everyone in this room conservative?
Yes.
Conservative Republican, okay?
Well, not so much the latter, but the prior.
There's a difference nowadays between conservative and Republican.
I bet there is.
Yes.
What do we think President Donald Trump represents?
Definitely conservative.
Conservative. What would you say is the difference between conservative and Republican? Anybody want to tackle that one?
I'm an independent, and I left the Republican Party years ago because as far as I was concerned, they were on the same course as the Democrats were. An institution to themselves, not serving the people. And you say the difference between a Republican and a conservative? Conservative has family values, believes in the family, believes in God, and what this nation was built out of.
Over the next few weeks, the House and Senate will be voting on an immigration reform package, one where nobody gets everything they want, but where our country gets the critical reforms it needs and must have.
We've had porous borders and disregard for illegal crossings and entries for 30 years. And neither party, Democrats nor Republicans, have truly tried to tackle it.
As far as DACA is concerned, I probably have a different opinion than many people do. They didn't commit a crime, their parents did. And I'm just one generation away from being in that same boat, except for the fact that my grandparents came here legally. And I'm a first-generation American. I'm grateful that they did it the right way. When I see the demonstrations down in Tucson, I think there have been some really nice interviews with nice people, you know, that talk about wanting to be a doctor. But then I see other people looking at the cameras and giving us the middle finger, and I think, sure, we should want you. No, I don't think so. But the guy that wants to be a doctor and the woman that wants to do something good, be a teacher, absolutely.
Embrace our values.
We need to keep those people.
And together we are building a safe, strong, and proud America.
That's one thing we're missing in this immigration program is the assimilation. We don't see, you know, the immigrants, the illegals that are here assimilating and picking up the values that this country was built on. I want to have a little Mexico. You know, my loyalty is to Mexico. I fly the Mexican flag. American kids can't wear the American flag on Cinco de Mayo because it might cause a problem. I mean, you see the standards just tumbling out of control.
A lot of times we've heard the argument that our nation was founded by immigrants, you know, dreamers. Are we just seeing that new generation of that right now?
No.
No.
That's different, it's way, entirely different.
Why?
Our forefathers here, the original pilgrims, didn't come here because there were bright shining lights and banks full of money and taxi cabs and all that stuff. They came here to escape persecution, and it was religious persecution. So they came here for religious freedom. That's the basic foundation of how we got started.
But if you want to come here to become an American, I mean, I would not want to go to a foreign country and bring everything and try to implement my standards to their country.
What really lies behind the discomfort with the press, the media, and the analysis that we were about to hear?
I think it's almost offensive that they need to tell us what we just heard. And then they're going to evaluate
From their perspective.
what was important and what wasn't important, and we don't need that. So that's why I was glad to not hear it.
It's like the dumbing down of Americans, you know. We don't get to have our own opinion anymore. We get to listen to some talking head sit and tell you what they think Trump said or didn't say. Personally, I long for the days when journalism was a real thing, a talent, and somebody that you remembered. And that doesn't happen anymore. Now you've got a bunch of people that sit in front of the camera and gossip.
This is a moment of history and high drama here in Washington. An embattled president under investigation, a Congress mired in partisan conflict.
It's like something that got said on tonight, and I can't say who said it on the TV, that Trump was under investigation. He is not. He's going to be asked to give some testimony, but he is not under investigation. So that was a basic untruth. But do you know how many people out there listening will believe that?
One of the things I was really excited about was his reference to the Capitol.
This Capitol, this living monument, this is the monument to the American people.
And I thought that was a really good reminder that everyone on both sides of the aisle need to realize we represent a thing bigger than our party and bigger than even my state. And I really was inspired a little bit when he referenced that part of it. And I thought it would have been really a neat lead into, I will now treat stop tweeting and treat people with really tremendous respect and be a leader with that, but I missed that part. But.
Over the last year, he has said some things via social media or in front of a microphone that have made people very uncomfortable. Do all of you feel that there is some of that?
His job is not to make everybody comfortable if he's going to make the change come about. I think his tweeting is wonderful because it goes directly to the people. It's not filtered through the press, either the conservative press or the other side. It's what he believes and what he says.
It's a very, very clever and successful way to keep your base pulled together.
That's right.
Well, I think it's great to speak directly to the American people. I just wish he would stop with the disrespectful way that he does it.
Can he be offensive? Absolutely. I'm not going to defend that. But he also gets information out that people can then go back and challenge the media and say, okay, which way is this? Which way are we really going? Why are you saying these kinds of things when it's something else over here? It's up to us as individuals to do our homework. Once we see something, whether it's a news person or President Trump that says it, then do your homework and get down to the basic of what it really is.
One of the reasons Trump got elected was because people were really tired of the status quo government. They didn't want another polished politician, and they got what they voted for. He is not a politician, and he is most definitely not polished. He's a man that is used to saying what he thinks and doing what he can afford to do. He is in that office taking no salary. It's really amazing that he continues to stay there, and I hope that he does continue to put up with the nonsense that he puts up with for nothing. And by for nothing, I mean no salary.
And God bless America. Good night.